Dave Tosh, Executive Director, Wenatchee Valley Senior Activity Center. Today I'm joined by Al Murphy. Al and I have known each other since the day I walked into this place. I think the same week I got here, I found out that Al was teaching AARP driver's classes so seniors could save a little bit on their insurance. At least that was the goal. But I've also come to know Al very well in all of his volunteer experience here in the community, and that's really what we're here to talk about today, because Al is an expert on volunteering. And so let's talk about that.
I don't know if I'm an expert on volunteering, but I have volunteered for a long time, a lot of different things. I get a lot of satisfaction out of volunteering, helping others. You know, in fact, the more you help somebody else, the more payback you get. And that's probably, you know, I don't know if that's a selfish thing or not, but it's a fun thing. I get enjoyment out of helping other people accomplish whatever it is they want to accomplish, such as with the driver safety. Is a lot of people come to it primarily to save some money on their insurance premiums. Right. But you know what? I sneak all kinds of stuff in there about being a safer driver, having fun, and talking about the new vehicles. A lot of people get upset about, you know, all the fancy gadgets and what have you. I'm not a techie, but I'm pretty smart on all the new, I stay current, how's that? I stay current, so I learn the things. In fact, in a couple of cases, people have asked me to come out to their car and show them, what does this button do, or whatever. So I get enjoyment out of helping people learn what they sometimes would like to know more about, but we're afraid to ask, if you will.
Yeah. Well, I know you say you're not much of a techie, but whenever we would have audiovisual problems in that room, you were always seem to be able to figure that out without any trouble at all, and that was a big help.
It is. You know, that is interesting, is throughout my entire career with the Forest Service and the BLM, I've given a lot of presentations. And as we all know, the technology has changed over time. I can remember my first ever presentation was how to fire weather to brand new firefighters, okay? And I was so impressed that they had asked me to do this, so I prepared really well for it. It was given outside, but I prepared flip charts, you know, back remember back in those days? Yeah. Mm-hmm. Well, the flip charts, and I also had one of the overhead projectors, you know, with the gooseneck thing on it. And then I had slides also. So I had 3 different formats of doing it. And I ended up having to use the flip chart because all the other stuff, we had a generator, it broke, and the light went out on the projector. If you remember giving presentations with a 35 millimeter projector, the bulb went out. So I ended up using the flip chart. So I learned to be versatile, and I learned to be using the right technology.
Reminds me of my military days when we were running off generators and all the things that would happen. Yeah, I'm well versed in all that. So I know that you've done a lot of thinking about volunteering. In fact, you've just put a presentation together. I've just learned about that. And talk a little more about what are the benefits you're getting out of volunteering, because what we're really trying to communicate to folks out there that are listening is, you know, there's a lot of ways you can volunteer, and there's some benefits from it.
There's a lot of benefits from volunteering, and more people that volunteer are really satisfied with what they do. In fact, volunteering, I just did some research on putting together a presentation on volunteering, is about 60% of people that work for a living are satisfied with what they do, whereas about 90% of the people that volunteer are satisfied. So that's a big difference. You know, 90% of the people are happy and satisfied. In fact, that's probably a key word in volunteering, satisfaction that comes out of that. And that can be derived a variety of different ways. Whether you're learning a new skill, something you've never done before, or maybe honing in a skill that you're pretty good with. One of the things that I used to do is I used to try to get people that want to change their field. change the work that they're doing is to go volunteer and go do it and not get paid for it. And that way they don't feel like they are messing with somebody trying to get something, but they're giving, okay? And that way they learn a new skill and they can move slick, if you will, into that. And they get a lot of satisfaction out of doing that. In fact, I had this one guy working for me that he wanted to do something entirely different. In fact, he wanted to become a massage therapist. Now that's kind of hard to volunteer for that, because you got to know what you're doing.
Yeah.
But anyway, there was a lot of things that he needed to do to get more involved with that. And he needed to go out and just be comfortable being around people, because he was not comfortable. So he started doing a number of different volunteer activities where he could just be around people and talk to people. And what he started doing was passing out directions to a lot of people. And once you start giving somebody directions to something, there is all kinds of conversation that comes up, and he got to be a lot more comfortable with dealing with people on a one-on-one basis. So that's one of the big advantages.
Well, I know that you're doing a lot of physical stuff too. You're out maintaining trails, as I recall you talking about.
When I retired close to 15 years ago. Is one of the things that somebody had told me about is that building trails is fun. Okay, well, I had to do that when I was working, go out and do trail maintenance and build trails. And you know what? I wasn't sure if we got paid when we were doing that, because at that time, being young and dumb, how's that? is I thought if it's fun, it's not work. Well, I learned a lot more about that. Is because building trails and doing trail maintenance was fun. And so I asked my boss, I said, do we still get paid for doing this work, even though it's fun? He said, boy, that's a silly question. So anyway,
Yeah.
so I like to build trails. I'm good at it, and I also see the advantage that people get a lot of enjoyment out of that.
Yeah.
The last couple of years, I've been working with the Chelan Douglas Land Trust, Evergreen Mountain Bike, and building trails. In fact, I got so much into this that I bought myself a little excavator, a small excavator, so I can build the trails, and it's enjoyment for me, as well as I can provide enjoyment way down the road. Many years to come, people will be able to get the enjoyment out of that. Over the last few years, I've probably built close to 20 miles of new trail here in the Wenatchee Valley.
Wow.
And I hope, I know people will get enjoyment out of that.
Well, there's a lot of cars at trailheads these days, especially in the spring.
Oh, yes.
I've heard that it's getting to the point now where you may be building parking lots to put all these cars in to enjoy the trails, right?
We are. In fact, with Evergreen, we just got a grant to build a parking lot, if you will, a trailhead up Number 2 Canyon, and we'll be able to service facilitate a lot of vehicles to park up there. And we're going to redo the road, okay, fix the road up, again, in cooperation with the Forest Service and the county and Evergreen, and TREAD are the 4 entities that are involved with that. And so we'll be able to provide something, and it's just fun. I have a great deal of enjoyment out of working up there and providing an opportunity for people that have never had that opportunity before.
So do you have to kind of pick and choose and sometimes say, well, that's not something I can really take on right now? Because I know how it works with volunteers. Somebody finds a really good resource in a volunteer, and pretty soon they keep asking for more, in different capacity. I know you're involved with the Master Gardeners. And,
yes.
And I don't know how many other organizations you're involved in, but...
I'm very involved with the Master Gardeners, and it's a great program. Is my wife accused me of failing Retirement 101, okay? So that I failed, okay? Because what happened when I retired, and she retired about a year later, what we were going to do is we bought a 5th wheel trailer, and we're just going to travel. Well, we've done some traveling, but not very much. My ability to say no when asked to do some volunteer work is not real good, but I'm learning, okay? One of the things that I did throughout my career was work on fire. And that's my degree is in fire, wildland fire. I'm a forest scientist by training, if you will. And though I didn't get to practice a lot of science all that time, but that's what my degree is in. And so what I like about fire is teaching people. I spent a lot of time doing what we call firewising around homes, helping people. I'm able to pull in the master gardeners, pull in my fire experience, and all these wonderful women and men that have great landscaping knowledge. Most of my career is at the mega scale on managing land, but now I get to at the micro scale in a backyard, you know. So I help people make their home fire wise by providing fire resistant material. So I'm able to pull in a lot of the stuff that I learned in my career and bring it back, and I still love doing it. I mean, it's something I did for 38 years, and I still like doing it today. So that is one of the things that really, really takes a lot of my time, is that fire-resistant plants and the vegetation.
Well, and it's an important topic right now, as we saw last summer. There was
Yes.
a lot of homes exposed to that fire, and they, I'm sure a lot of them did the right thing. And that's one of the reasons why we didn't lose any homes in that fire. I'm sure that had a lot to do with it.
Yeah, there's a lot of people around here. I've been working with the fire department, the city, and different entities on trying to get things squared away. There's a lot of stuff that we can do, and I trying to get more people involved with that, volunteering, if you will, and it's fun. And obviously, you can see benefits from it right away after the fire goes by and everything turns out to be okay. It's wonderful. It's a great feeling.
Well, my own experience here at the Senior Center, I happened to stop by here on the Sunday. We had the Sleepy Hollow fire was burning just a little bit to the west of us here, and all the embers going over the top of our building, and went a little further, thank God. Well, not for the people that that had the fire start and the recycling, but how fortunate we were here not to have the embers land on some of our shrubbery that were right up alongside the building. So we've eliminated a lot of that here just based on that experience.
And I think that's great. Is, you know, and I've been working with the people that live in the Broadview neighborhood and trying to long-term help landscape the area, both the wildland and around their homes. And it's really, I get a great deal of enjoyment out of that. And, you know, knowing that long-term wise, the whole community is going to be better off.
Yeah. Well, we've talked a lot about your volunteering. You're a very active person. So what is it that you do in your life away from volunteering that you stay active? Well,
probably the thing that keeps me going, that I love doing more than anything else, is I play hockey. And I play hockey 2 nights a week here at the Town Toyota Center. And it is something that keeps me fit. I sweat a lot and just have a lot of fun. In fact, I should offer, there's a couple of things that I think are really neat. In me playing hockey, I have 3 objectives: sweat, have fun, and don't get hurt. Now, if you notice, it doesn't say anything about scoring a goal or getting in a fight or any of that. So it's just those 3 things, and I have a lot of fun doing that. Let me offer you, when I go out and work with volunteer groups on trail building, I have 4 objectives, okay? My 4 objectives are: learn something, have fun, don't get hurt, and if possible, accomplish something. Okay? Now, you notice I put accomplish something at the end, because if you focus on having fun and learning something, by God, stuff happens. And it happens so fast, and you don't know that we just built 2 miles of trail. Okay? And that was, everybody thinks that we're out there with a whip going. No, Have fun doing it. And if you don't even think about it and you talk about that, people will enjoy it, and all kinds of stuff happens, and it's magic.
Well, Al, I want to thank you for spending a few minutes with us today. I think it's important for people in our community to know, who are these volunteers? What is it all about? And why would I want to do that? And I think you've explained that rather well today.
Well, I hope so. I hope that you get the idea that volunteering is fun. It's you get more back than you give, and it is really nice that you're able to go out and do something you love doing, and it's just a lot of fun, and it's very rewarding. So, thank you for having me.
Thank you, Al.